It is time, before we get to Tuesday trivia, for one of my favorite segments of the year. Can only do it when there are football games. Don't do it during basketball season. Doesn't work like that. This is a football deal. Individual standouts. Oh, it's just so great to have this segment back into the fold. You know, there are a lot of great things I love about covering this team and the programs all off season. That's great. But nothing hits harder for me and stronger in a great way than individual standouts. These are guys who I feel like need some love that were not necessarily popping into everyone's mind. For some people, sure. But, you know, if you watch the game, you saw Dante Moore make throws. You saw Malik Benson lead the team in receiving. You saw Kenyon Sadiq's highlight touchdown. All that stuff deserves its moment at the sun. But so do these guys. Let me start with the big fellas up front. The right side of Oregon's offensive line. Davey Uli at guard. That was a little bit of a surprise, but not a big one. You know, my pick along the offensive line to have a somewhat unexpected starter was Janoris Wilson over Alex Harkey. I see now why Harkey is the starter, but Davey Uli starting over Matthew Bedford, who's coming off an injury. He's a really experienced guy in college football. It doesn't surprise me at all. We've watched Davey Uli be a good player for this Oregon team. This is his third year in a row where he's seeing regular snaps. Like I'm not shocked by that whatsoever. Davey Uli and Alex Harkey were mauling guys all over the place. Harkey in particular, I saw some snippets going around that he was kind of smack talking dudes, and he did have, I forget which play it was exactly, one moment where he looked like he kind of baited a Montana State player who wasn't looking at him into running a bit just so he could clothesline him on the ground, and then he just stood down and looked at him. Uli and Harkey, the whole offensive line played great. Poncho, you know, any rotations they made at the left guard position, Isaiah World, they all did really well. But if you go watch some of Oregon's big play, like the first play of the game, Uli and Harkey just wash everything out. Noah sees the cutback lane, and he looks fully healthy, and we know how good he is when he's at full strength. So those two guys in particular were phenomenal. Speaking of blocking, I would like to highlight DeCorian Moore again. Talked about him on yesterday's show, but also Jamari Johnson. And I'll start with DeCorian, who on that first play from scrimmage just clears his guy out of the way. He had, I think, from Pro Football Focus, a 90 run blocking grade out at wide receiver. He was hyped. He's into it. I think we're going to love this guy. What's not to love so far? You know, Oregon wasn't taking downfield shots in this game. His first career touch goes for a first down on the end around, and he looks electric. He hurdled a guy, and then he was just clearing the way. He had the block on, and blocked the wrong guy, as Dan Lanning told us, on Gary Bryant's touchdown. He had a block to spring Noah Whittington free. He had a block on Jaden Lamar's touchdown run. Like, guy is out there playing. He is the number one receiver in the class, 5-star, all this hype and he's willing to get down and do the dirty work. Like, heck yeah, man. I love it. Jamari Johnson as well. I don't think he had a catch in this game, but he looks healthy, which is big because transferring over from Louisville, he's coming off an injury. He looks like the guy who we thought we were getting, which is someone that, you know, maybe doesn't have a big role in the passing game. We'll see. I think he's capable, but he's out there primarily to be a blocker. He looks healthy. He looked really good. He had some awesome blocks in this game that I saw. Jeremiah McClellan as well. I was actually curious when it was happening during the game. He blocked 2 punts. I can't remember an Oregon player ever doing that. You guys can do your sleuthing and let me know if there's been an instance, but I can't ever remember in my life Oregon blocking 2 punts in a game, let alone it being the same guy. Shout out to Joe Lorig, the special teams coach. But again, McClellan's a receiver. He had 1 catch in this game, and we know what his potential is out there. Going out and getting it done on special teams, I'm so here for it, man. So incredibly here for it. In the secondary, Naeem Offord, I thought, looked good. Highest rated defensive back recruit in Oregon history. His pass interference, I will say it again, that was not PI. That was a horrible call from the officiating crew. First game of the year, everybody's working the kinks out. And the Montana State receiver sold it a bit. But yeah, I thought he had a nice game. Because aside from the PI, which wasn't actually a flag, we didn't hear from him. You know why? Because he was covering the guys most of the time. And speaking of which, here's a guy who flew under the radar as well in the secondary. Sione Laulea. Did you see the number 3 out there? If you were wondering who that was, that's a number change for Sione, who has been wearing number 13 in his career. He was seeing the field a good amount. And he's one of those guys, along with any number of other players in the secondary, quite frankly, whether it's Aaron Flowers or, Finney and Ife Obadegwu when Theron Johnson comes back, or Jaden Kennedy, Kingston Lopa, Aaron Flowers. I already said Aaron Flowers. But I don't think you're going to see that many guys rotate in. It is a good sign that if you need to, or if a guy gets dinged up, there are a lot of options available. But Sione had some nice moments. And he's, when he first got to Oregon, he was really skinny. He was hitting dudes. He had a couple of really nice hits before Montana State converted a 4th and 1. Pretty sure it was the one they converted. They picked up 9 yards. Dylan Thieneman got held. Horrific missed call by the officiating crew. But the receiver was a yard short because Sione flew over and popped him. And kept him a yard short of the line to gain when it looked like he was going to get a first down on 3rd and 10. So I thought Sione did some nice things. But I want to hear your individual standouts as well that maybe go beyond the obvious, or maybe the obvious ones. Let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Twitter. So this will be a once weekly thing. Tuesday trivia, because this has been so wildly popular. Reminder to send questions. It's got to be via direct message or become a Locked On Ducks insider. Not going to do it in the comments because I can lose track of those too easily, and I don't want to do that. So, a few here. I said I was going to be selective. I'm gonna try to go a little rapid fire here. One of them I have no chance at. Like, I applaud the creativity, but I have no chance. So I'll start with that one. Charles, which is my middle name and my dad's name. Fun fact. Do you care? No, but now you know. Trivia questions. Which team broke Mel Renfro's rib at Hayward Field, and who won the game? I'll go with Oregon won the game. Which team? I wasn't even alive back then, so it's got to be a random one, though. I'll go with Cal. Why? I don't know. Calvin, name an Oregon football player who at any time set any record for each position on offense. O-line can just be one player. Okay. Career rushing yards, Royce Freeman at running back. Single season record for tight end receiving yards. Let me come back to that. Single season receiving yardage record for a wide receiver, Troy Franklin, 2023. Most passing yards in a season, I'm going with... It's either Bo or Marcus. I think it's Bo. I'm going to go with Bo. Bo Nix on that one. What record do you even have on an offensive line? Any record. Got to be like most starts. Most starts along the offensive line for Oregon, I'm going to say Max Unger. And for tight end, most receiving yards in a single season, I will go with, it's got to be like Ed Dixon, T. Ferg, David Paulson maybe. I'll go with Ed Dixon. I will go with Ed Dixon. Last one from Balin. We know and love that Autzen is known for its crazy noise levels, especially during big games. The loudest game I've personally experienced was 2018 against Washington. I was in London watching that game at dark 30 in the morning. I should have gotten a noise complaint from whoever was in the other room. It saw a peak of 125 decibels. So the question is, when was the unofficial loudest game in stadium history? Who was the opponent? And what was the decibel reading? Bonus question. One of our current Big Ten brethren took a trip here some years ago and accused us of piping in crowd noise. What team was that? Took a trip here some years ago. What Big Ten teams? That's got to be... Michigan State, 2014. 2017, I don't think there was a Big Ten team. 18, no. 19, no. 21, Ohio State didn't come here in 2021. We went there. Yeah, I'll go Michigan State 2014 for that. When was the unofficial loudest game? Who was the opponent? What was the decibel reading? Well, if Washington was around 125, I'll say the peak was around 130. Who was the opponent? And what was the year? You know what? It was a sellout crowd. It was the biggest crowd in Oregon in Autzen history. I'll go Ohio State 2024 with a peak of 130 decibels. So those are my Tuesday trivia questions. I was going to be more picky with those, but there were 3, and I was like, I don't know. I have absolutely no chance at one of them. But keep the questions coming. Spencer Scale of Agreement as well. Tomorrow we'll have a crossover with Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State. Get the latest from Pokes Country. So we'll see you then. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And go Ducks.